So in five, four. Good morning. I'm Matthew Vidala for NASD TV, and I'm here today with Mr. Smallwock to talk about the upcoming virtual parent conferences on November 24th and 25th. Thank you for being with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
Why is it important to go to the parent conferences?
So, conferences are important in any school year because parents and teachers meeting to talk about students and what things are going right, what things need work, is always an important way to help make sure that students are successful. So, that interaction between the teacher and the family really works to identify where there are areas of concern, what things might be done for the student to get extra help, to be more successful in class. And that's always important. But I think it's doubly important in this virtual format because students and teachers aren't having their normal day-to-day face-to-face interactions, and it's just more difficult to get things accomplished educationally when you are dealing with online classes. So having these conferences is another way for us to touch base with families, in order to make sure that students are being successful in what is a difficult year and a difficult way to learn for many people.
What kind of things will they be going over?
So it would be individual to each student, but in general, we look at what a student's grades are, how they've been performing on assignments, projects, tests, assessments, what attendance has been like, what their participation in classes, things like that. And again, because of being in this virtual format, attendance being online and through either GoGuardian or Google Meets and stuff like that. So much more is on the student to make sure that they are online and participating in this system and participating in class. It's a lot easier when you're in the school building because we kind of have you here and you're sitting in our classes, so it's very easy to get you engaged because you're there. When you're on the other side of a camera in your own house, it's a lot more difficult to make sure that students are engaged, that they are participating, that they're doing the work they need to do. So again, this is a lot of the challenges we're facing right now.
Will the meetings be one-on-one with the parents?
Yes, so the way that we're setting this up, and again, because of our COVID situation, obviously we can't have conferences in person in a big group like we normally do. So what we're doing is we have set up a page on our library website, the site that I run, which is nahslibrary.org, and there's a big link right in the middle that goes to fall conferences. And there's lots of information there, but in short, what happens is the parent goes in, and they click on a link for each of their students' teachers, and that'll take the parent to the Google Calendar sign-up page for each of the teachers, and then they reserve a spot on either November 24th or November 25th, the evening of the 24th and the morning of the 25th. They reserve a slot. That slot will automatically create a Google Meet link, and then the teacher and the parent, the guardian, or whoever else will use that link at the scheduled time on the conference day, and they'll meet in there, and that's how they will do the conference virtually. So that's what we have set up for parents, families, and teachers to meet in this conference setting.
What platform will the conferences be held on?
So we're utilizing Google Meets because it's something that we have, since we are a Google for Education school district and we have extensively used Google products. Google has a very nice feature of being able to sign up for appointment slots. So we're using that appointment slot feature from Google Calendar, so that parents can go in and sign up for the slots, and then the actual meeting will happen via Google Meet. And again, because the nice feature of it is that when the parent signs up, it automatically creates a unique link, because we want to make sure, these are private conversations. So we want to make sure that each person is getting their own link, not like when we did open house in the fall, where open house, it was, you're going to visit your teacher, but everybody's seeing the same presentation and hearing the same information. So it was just one link. This is a little different. So that's why we're using the calendar and the Google Meet platforms to do the scheduling and to have the actual meetings.
Will parents have to use our Chromebooks?
So a parent can use any device where they can get to the internet and get to their Google account. Um, in order to get in to sign up, you do need to have a Google account. So they can use their own Google account. They can create one for free, or they could use their students' Norristown School District Google account and use their students' Chromebook. So it really just depends on what the parent wants to use. You can use your smartphone. Google Meet has an app. You can go through that to use it. You could use a desk computer. You could use a tablet. You don't need to have a camera. Cameras are nice because face-to-face conversations and actually being able to see the person is probably the most effective. But the Google account, the Google Meet actually allows for you to phone in. There's a phone number and a PIN number that's right in the appointment details, so that depending on what your technology capability is, there's a way for anyone to be able to join in on these meetings and schedule them. You don't have to have much in the way of specialized technology in order to get into the meeting.
How long will the conferences be?
All the conference slots are scheduled for 10 minutes in length. So every 10 minutes, starting at 4 o'clock on the afternoon of Tuesday, the 24th, and through to 7 p.m. on the 24th, and then starting again at 7:15 a.m. on the 25th, every 10 minutes. So 4 o'clock, 4:10, 4:20, and so on. So the meetings will need to not run any longer than that time allotted of 10 minutes, because then you would be running in, the teacher would need to leave your meeting and needs to go to the next meeting that's scheduled. So 10 minutes is the outside longest time that one of the conferences will be.
What are your plans to avoid what happened during the last parent-teacher conferences?
Well, this is the first time we've done the parent-teacher conferences online, but earlier in the fall, we did open house online in a similar format. The only issue there was at the very beginning, we realized that some of the links weren't working because you needed to have an in-district login, and we were able to adjust that and fix it. That will not be an issue with this, because anybody with a Google account, whether it's in district or out of district, can schedule one of these meetings, and will be able to find the link in their calendar once they schedule the meeting, and we'll go to the Google Meet. The only thing that may happen is when you get to the meet, if the teacher isn't immediately in there, you'll get a little icon that says ask to join, and you'll just need to wait until the teacher logs in, and then they'll get a message and they will let you in. But that would only be probably a few seconds delay as teachers are moving from conference meet to conference meet. But it's not going to cause any issues in terms of being able to access anything. So we're pretty confident that it will work fine through the meets, and we won't have that issue that happened with open house.
What happens if parents can't join the conference due to their connection?
So like I said earlier, there are multiple ways to join, and one of the ways that really requires nothing in terms of connection is to join by a telephone. And it can be any phone. It can be a house phone, a smartphone, a flip phone. All you need to do is, after you schedule the appointment, in the details in the calendar, there is a telephone number and a PIN number that you'll use, and you can join by telephone, and that will take out the issue of having a slow connection or connection issues. The only thing that they would need a connection for in that instance is to actually sign up for the slot. But the actual conference, and I know that some people, with slower internet connections and whatnot, video streaming becomes difficult, and staying connected is a problem. So connecting on a computer or a tablet without the video usually makes things go faster. But again, if that's still a problem, connect via the phone. Just call into the meeting using that number and the PIN that's right there, and you can participate fully, talking right over the phone with everybody else who's in the meeting on their computer. So that will eliminate the problem with having connection issues and still allow people to participate.
Will there still be the option to have over the phone conferences such as every other year?
Yes. Yeah, that setup, it's a automatic function of the way that the Google Meet is set up. Every Google Meet automatically has the way to join via the computer and the way to join via telephone call.
What happens when a parent's at work during the time of the conferences?
Well, that's an issue that will come up any year. People always have things that come up that might keep them from being able to join a conference. That's part of why we offer both evening and morning time slots. But if a parent or guardian is not able to meet in any of those times, they just need to reach out to the teacher. And if they reach out to the teacher, they can establish a conversation via email and probably set up a meeting time at a later point if necessary. But a lot of those things can be solved over an email contact and whatnot. Communication is communication. Some forms are more effective than others, but it's really just reaching out in either direction that will help us have the conversations that will help students be successful in school.
Is there a backup plan in case more parents come than you expected?
Well, that's an I will say that is one consideration in this, because in a normal year when we're live and it's people walking into the cafeteria, we're usually able to handle, whoever comes in. There may be a few minutes past. This system, because we have to set specific slots and specific meetings with individual links and stuff like that, there are a limited number of slots, but it's a lot of slots because, again, it's every 10 minutes for 3 hours each day. So it's a lot of slots, and I think we'll be able to handle pretty much everyone that signs up. If somebody does end up running out of time, again, we'll have parents need to reach out to teachers. Teachers will reach out to parents, and we'll figure out a way that we can meet with them at a different time. But I think we should be fine with the number of slots we have. There are quite a few of them.
Is it a mandatory meeting?
No, it's not a mandatory meeting. It's just a suggested meeting. We want to talk to every parent. We want to have that connection with family and school when we're all working to the same direction. I think people, students, teachers are more successful in what they're doing. So it's not required that a parent guardian sign up for conferences, but we really would like you to. And particularly if you look at your student's report card, which you should do, go into Home Access Center from the district website, look at the report card, and if you see, grades that don't look where you want them to be, particularly, if there's D's or F's, we want to figure out how we can fix that. What's going on? What problems are happening? What suggestions can we give? How can we get the student to be more successful? And having that conversation is important. And again, that's why the conferences are important.
Information
Will there
about
be
the return to
information
school
given
protocol?
about the
return to school protocol?
We won't be providing any information at conferences about returning to school. All of those discussions are still happening at the superintendent and school board levels. As we know right now, we're not coming back to schools until January 11th, and there's a phased introduction of students and who comes back through the weeks after January 11th. So decisions about that, from what I know, are not going to be made officially until the middle of December and will be based on numbers. So nothing new will come out about that during the conferences. The purpose of the conferences is to talk about the first marking period, grades, performance and issues, and things like that.
How many more conferences will there be after this one?
We have 2 conference days set aside each year, or two different conference sessions, I should say. 2 days in the fall and 2 days in the spring, usually in March. So I would expect that there will be a second conference day set up in March, and I would probably expect that it would be virtual as well, even if we are back to some level of in-person instruction, just because I'm sure that by March, we're still not going to be having large group gatherings like the conferences with everyone in the cafeteria. So, I think we'll be doing this format again come the spring, but that is again to be seen.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, just that, again, all the information for the conferences are on the library website, which is nahslibrary.org. In the middle, there's a big, huge link that says schedule your fall conferences. Just click on that. And there is an instructional video that I made on how to sign up for the slots and how you access your meeting on meeting day. We're adding today a Spanish translation of the page and directions on how to get Spanish subtitles for our parents and guardians and families who need it translated. So we will also have interpreters available during the meets that the parent just needs to let us know when they come into the meet, let the teacher know, and they will go to another spot to get an interpreter to come in. So we're trying, again, to make sure that we are having all the conversations that we need to have between family and school to make sure that all of our students are successful, even in this online environment.
Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, and I hope that everyone has good conferences and has a very nice Thanksgiving.